Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I'm recording this at the end of March, and I think I've really put the madness into the concept of March Madness. You see, I only recently learned that March Madness is all about basketball. I used to think that March Madness was an excuse to get mad about anything in March, but now that I'm all grown up, I've actually done it. So we began this month with an unexpected windfall for me, right? Or actually, it's more like a unexpected huge windfall of a severance package, right? Unfortunately, I got temporarily cut off from my Bismuth art projects, and in return, I got a very large severance check that is very difficult to cash, obviously, right? But so I had to pivot a little bit and work on my Mondrian squares. You guys saw the frames of different colors put together, and I had a very good time doing that. But I also ran into a lot of drama. I'm involved in a long-distance relationship with a girl in Taiwan, and this month we really started to kick the conversation into a higher gear, but it put a lot of drama in my life. I found I had difficulty paying attention with other things in my life. My eating disorders really ramped up, and if that wasn't enough, one day I was talking about my eating disorders when somebody decided to report my video to YouTube, and my eating disorders have really uh, backfired on me. One day, it was a Wednesday, I was giving a midterm exam when I sat back down at my desk, and as the students were taking their exams, I started doodling away. I'm an artist, so. And I started to think about just what I had eaten in the last couple of days, and when I drew it on a piece of paper and I looked at it, I was disgusted out of my mind, and I almost vomited. I literally had to run toward the trash can just in case I was going to vomit. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to have to recalibrate a little bit. I decided to go the rest of the day without eating, and I went on a 16-hour or so fast. And toward the end of that fast, I got disoriented and dizzy. And not to mention, I got the long distance relationship going on in Taiwan. I got a few close friends. I'm going to talk about another one in a moment. But the ups and downs, right? None of this goes in a straight line, right? There were plenty of times when the girl and we ghosted each other for some time, and just the mental ups and downs of that have been just weighing me down. So we had the turbulences of making new friends, plus the relationship in Taiwan. We had return to my eating disorders, and then I got a mediocre performance review as a result of all of that. I got cut off from my Bismuth art projects. And yesterday, I had another bittersweet moment. You see, over at the community college where I teach, it's Carnival Week. We got carnival rides going on. And in the past, I had a hard time with the carnival because a lot of those rides, they don't let you board alone. And sometimes the carnival people are very hostile if you try to go there and ask people if they'll ride with you, right? So I'm very fortunate this year I got involved. Well, it's kind of awkward. One of my students likes me, and I wouldn't call her exactly relationship material, but I'll go along with it, right? After all, good rapport is always good. And we ended up, I don't know if I should call it a date or not, but so for the first, I broke an age barrier. My first time dating a girl, 20 years my junior. So we went to the carnival, and she brought her older sister, which made it more comfortable because, after all, given her age, I didn't want to be there alone with her. She brought her older sister. We ended up on this ride. I forget what it's called. It spins you in circles. And the seats technically could fit 3 people, but not 3 people our size, right? I ended up sitting at the very end of the ride where, the ride pushes this way, and I'm sitting here. She sits in the middle. Her older sister sits at the very end. And so then the ride started, and I'm like, uh-oh. I felt like I was going to break a bone. And halfway through the ride, I feel like I'm being crushed to death. And I ended up having almost a near-death experience at the end of the ride. But I felt really good. You see, one of my biggest fantasies is being killed by a girl that I like, right? I don't know if I've ever talked about it on my channel, but one of my biggest fantasies is if I'm a big fan of Polish Idol Season 1 winner Alicia Janazi. One of my biggest fantasies is that she would put her hands around my neck and strangle me to death with her hands. And I don't know why. I fantasize about that a lot. Not just with her, but with a few other girls that I like. I fantasized about. I used to be a big fan of. You guys may remember season 1 of Survivor. Colleen Haskell. She ended up starring in a movie. I don't think she's strong enough to do that. Uh, uh, Kelly Clarkson, if she would do it. Taylor Swift. I don't think Taylor Swift is strong enough to do it. So either Kelly Clarkson or the Polish Idol 1 winner, or even Evelina Folenta. I think she could do it. But I have too much respect for Evelina Folenta to fantasize about her these days. But anyways, I almost got killed by the girl and her older sister, and that felt so good. The only as I was almost getting killed, the only regret I had was that I hadn't been documenting how I've been doing my Bismuth art projects, and I worried if anybody would remember how to do them after I'm gone. That was the only thing that was on my mind as I was being crushed to death. But fortunately, the ride stopped, and I kind of blacked out the last couple of moments of that ride. I have no recollection of the last couple of moments of that ride. But it was a trophy date. You know, the probability that I'll end up with any relationship with her is about as low as all of my bismuth turning into gold when I get home tonight, right? It would be the equivalent of that, right? Maybe a little bit higher, just because, you know, anything could happen, right? But it's on that magnitude. I had a trophy date. Anyway, that concludes the very mad March that I've had this month, right? Hopefully, I'll have a turnaround with my eating disorders. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.